Franklin County Board of County Commission is now back in session. Next on the agenda will be
I think we're at Kim Bodine, Commissioners.
Kim Modine. Ms. Kim Modine.
How you doing, Kim? You there?
I'm here.
I'm sorry, I was going to say good morning. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay, you can just state your name for the record, and you can go ahead and make your presentation to the board.
Yes, this is Kim Bodine, Executive Director for Career Source Gulf Coast. Good afternoon, Commissioners. On the agenda we have today annually that you approve our budget that's presented. It should be in your packet there, as well as a waiver that we request annually as well. The budget is higher this year than it started last year, and that is because we're anticipating dollars for the dislocated worker grant. So that's where most of that increase came from. We typically, without additional grants, have a budget that runs around $5 million. So the dislocated worker grant really inflates what our normal budget would look like. And if anybody has any questions about the budget, I'd be happy to have my finance person available to answer those.
Anybody got any?
Okay. Hearing none, the ITA waiver, under state law, we're required to spend 50% of our WIOA funding for classroom and other types of training. And traditionally, it's been difficult for us to manage exactly how to spend that money because we actually can't force people to go into training. And so in some instances, for example, right now, it's been more difficult to get individuals interested in going into training because of the pandemic. We also had a little dip in that following the hurricane, obviously. But we usually seek a waiver to make our goal 30% of our funding. However, we strive to hit the 50%. I think currently for the year that just ended, June 30th for us, we ended up somewhere around 40% for the amount of dollars that were required to go into training that did hit that line. We will continue to do that. The reason that we asked for the waiver is because the penalties associated with not hitting your mark are punitive, and it rolls into the following year to increase the amount that you must spend. So we really just like to err on the side of caution with that request. This is something that you all have approved for us annually for many years now. Is there any questions about the ITA waiver process?
No.
No, apparently not.
No.
Kim.
Now, Michael, are these all three of our items, or is the MOU grouped in with these other two, the budget and waiver, or are they separate?
Well, the MOU, what you sent me yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. No, I added that as an attachment to their file this morning. Unfortunately, so I don't know if they had a chance to look it over. And I know Attorney Schuler had some comments on it. I think he sent you back, I do believe, an email. So it's probably something you want to explain to them, and I don't know if Attorney Schuler has more questions now. And before you do that, Kim, do you need a motion to approve the budget and the waiver? Can we clear that up now and do that?
Yes, that's what I was asking about.
Oh, okay.
So moved.
Second. I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous.
Okay, so now you can go ahead and explain that email you sent yesterday.
Okay, Michael, that's not what I'm referring to. We also had in the packet, I believe, a MOU with the Division of Blind Services.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, they had that in their packet. So yeah, that you can ask, make that presentation and ask a motion for that. I'm sorry. Yes, that's been in their packet.
Okay. As you know, we're required by federal law to enter into Memorandum of Understanding with required partners. You approved some of those MOUs for us at your last meeting, but the Division of Blind Services had not completed their portion of this MOU yet. And so we submitted it this month with our other items. It's really just an agreement that outlines what we're committing to in supporting their work and what they're committed to do in supporting the work of job centers. And so that MOU should be included in your packet as well.
Okay. Need a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
All right, Kim, and I guess the last thing is to finally discuss the email you sent yesterday. How about that?
Right, okay. So the email I sent yesterday, we requested from the Department of Economic Opportunity some data related to unemployment claims. Typically, when individuals apply for unemployment, they're required to register in the job matching system for the state of Florida, which is administered through workforce boards. It's called Employ Florida. Because of the pandemic and because of social distancing and the huge number of individuals that became unemployed within weeks of one another, DEO stopped the migration of that data to us, and the governor waived the requirement for individuals to register in that system. He also waived work searches, so people didn't have to go out and look for work during the pandemic. In doing so, we find that we can't reach back out to individuals that have applied for unemployment through the system and help them start to get registered for work. And we also wanted to look at the numbers of individuals we had, look for any kind of commonalities between them, and start to reach out to them, because we know at some point this requirement not to register for work and not to do job searches is going to end. What we don't want to happen is we don't want to have 20,000 people coming in, trying to get in all at the same time to get in the system to do that. But even though we've always had access to that information in the past, because typically DEO wouldn't turn off that valve that allows that information to come through to us, people would have to put this information in the system, but because of the pandemic they did. So we've always had access to this information. I'm not really sure why, to be perfectly honest with you, but we've requested this data starting in March to get the data to go ahead and be transmitted to us so that we could start reaching out to these individuals and helping them over the telephone to get in the system and get that information in to be prepared for when the pandemic ends. DEO has decided that in order for us to access the information, and some of this information we share with you all and our data collections as summaries about what's going on in the market, that in order for us to access that data, now that they want our county commissioners to sign an agreement allowing us to receive that data. So if you're following what I'm saying, you can understand why we're confused as to why now we have to have a new level of approval to receive data that we've always gotten in the past, but it is what it is. So yesterday they sent us a sample agreement that would be passed on to counties, to boards of county commissions, to sign in order to agree for us to receive this data. I shared the draft agreement with Michael, and he sent it on to represent our attorney Schuler, and he had some questions about it, and I think that I've answered his questions, and this just adding a layer of bureaucracy, I think, to something that has been something we've always had access to. But in order for you all to be comfortable with them passing the data to us, then we could create an agreement with you all telling you why we need the data, what we would use it for, and that the data is secure with us. Everyone that works in a job center that has access to data has to complete a security agreement with the state of Florida. So we already have those agreements in place, and that subawardee agreement that you signed for us last month from the Department of Economic Opportunity also has sections in it that clarifies how we are to treat confidential PPI. So I'm not sure why they're adding this extra agreement into the process, but when that agreement between you all and DEO is finalized, I will be bringing that back before the Board of County Commissioners to see if you all will agree to share the data, that they can share the data with us. I know that sounds convoluted because it really is.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. Kim, could I ask you a couple questions as it relates to this agreement?
Certainly.
Number one, if the county allows you to receive this data and you're talking about trying to get a head start, so when it ends and everybody has to go back looking for a job or whatever, you will not force these people into a job until the state tells them that's what they got to do now to start collecting, to keep collecting their unemployment. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We can't, we can't force anybody into a job, but at some point, the unemployment will end, and we know that people are going to be looking for jobs, and all of them will then have to go through this somewhat lengthy process of registering. And we're trying to be proactive and keep that from, just happening all at once when the faucet's turned off, and reaching out to them to let them know that there are job openings. We're happy to help them register. We're happy to give them job leads. And when they're ready, that we're here to help them do that.
Right now, as it stands right now, most people ain't looking for no job.
Right.
Right now, they're not getting the federal $600 a week or whatever. But when they were getting that plus the state unemployment, they weren't looking for no job. And I don't want to.
Exactly.
I don't want to, by signing this agreement, I don't want to put our constituency and our people in a different position than everybody else in the state. That was why I asked that question. In other words, you just want to get a head start on registering them into the system.
Absolutely.
If you can't reach out and reach these people by telephone or whatever, how else are you going to get in touch with them to get them to, basically, I'm going to call it pre-register?
Of course, we're going to push it out there on our social media channels. We'll be doing press releases with the media, trying to get the word out through interviews. So we'll do the things that we normally do to try to get people interested in coming in. We just want to make sure, and we understand the climate right now. A lot of people are very concerned about getting back out in the workplace and getting out in the public, and we understand that. But we want them to make the connection with us earlier on so that when they get to that place where they're ready and they have to have some income coming in, that we've already got them in the system and we can work with them much more quickly. And if we can get them registered over the telephone, they don't even have to come in to see us. We can work with them virtually, and they can go into Employ Florida and look for jobs if they have access to a computer on their own. But when they start to want to get back into working, we want them to know that we're here to help them do that. We have job leads, we have postings, and they'll already be registered in the systems. That's something they can be doing in their downtime.
I'm wondering if that doesn't need to be put into the local paper here around Apalachicola and Franklin County, I guess you would say, to let the people know.
Yes, sir.
To let the people know that this service is available to them, but it's not forcing them to give up their unemployment at this time, but it's getting them ready for the future as we move back into where these requirements may be required, and getting that out to the public in such a way that they understand what they're doing and not giving up their unemployment benefits right now, but getting them pre-registered is going to help them in the future, and trying to get that point across where they're comfortable doing that. I think is something that we need to reach out and try to make clear to the public.
Yes, sir. That's part of why we want to do it. What we do and them registering and work in Employ Florida has no bearing on their unemployment claim. Right now they can receive 13 weeks of state unemployment, and when they've exhausted that, they get 13 weeks of pandemic federal unemployment assistance, which is the same amount as the state benefit. On top of that, they've been receiving $600. Of course, we don't know what that's going to change to until the next federal package is passed. But at any rate, at this point in time, the most any individual can get is 26 weeks of unemployment. Many of them have already moved from the state 13 weeks into that federal 13 weeks. So they will eventually be out of unemployment benefits either way. We just want to make sure that when that happens, that they're working with us and we can help get them ready for going back to work.
I would.
But I agree that message needs to be crafted and put out there so people do understand what we're talking about.
A total of 26 weeks would be 6 months, 52 weeks in a year. So we're looking at 6 months is the total that they can receive. Some of these people may be getting pretty close to that, especially if they filed in February, and it won't be long. Their 6 months is going to be up. And that's,
right.
I think that's another part of the message that needs to get out too. Also letting them know that 26 weeks is going to wind you up, so it would be to your advantage to go ahead and pre-register and
right.
going through Career Source to help them find another job and better employment. So I think these are some of the things that we need to get out to the public and have them realize that when they start counting back, some of them are going to realize that they're fastly approaching the 26 weeks.
I agree.
And Kim, this is Bert
Yeah.
Bolt in District 2, and we just had a discussion this morning about the fact that the seafood industry can't find folks to help dehead shrimp, even though it's an issue related to the COVID, which made me wonder, are employers getting in touch with you to let you know that they got jobs out there standing by for people?
Yes, they are. We are having a very difficult time, though, finding job seekers who are ready to go back to work.
I see. Yeah, of course.
And honestly, at this point, even some employers who have made offers of employment back to the individuals they laid off, the system really isn't at a point yet where in a normal unemployment situation, which would be far, far fewer people, right, receiving unemployment benefits, that would, the employer would receive a notice saying your employee's requested unemployment benefits, and the employer would, send something back that said, no, I've made an offer of employment to this individual. They should not be receiving benefits.
Yep.
And then there's an appeal, there's a hearing,
Yep.
and it's sorted out. I don't think the system is at a point where it's able to do that right now.
I see.
So it's very difficult for employers that are trying to get workers back, and it's difficult for employers who are just trying to hire people, whether it was the people they had before or not.
Is there a possibility of an open-air job fair under the current COVID situation? Is that appropriate?
Yes, we could host that, but we've been trying to reach people, of the people we have contact information for, and we've been pushing out a lot of social media about job openings, and we simply aren't getting any traction with job seekers.
And another, Mr. Chairman, another issue is, as you said, these forms should come to the employers, letting them know that their former employee has filed for workman's comp.
Yep.
And as someone who runs a business and employs people, I've not received any of that.
Right.
I've not received any forms from, not workers' comp, but unemployment that said this individual has applied for unemployment insurance. Is it true their job's no longer available? I've not received any of that as an employer. if it did, if everybody was receiving that, then there would be a lot of people off the unemployment rolls because they've been offered a job to come back and they don't want to come. Having said that, we all understand the issue with COVID-19, and a lot of people are scared to go back to work, and, you know, it's just hard to say, but long as this agreement is not disadvantage to our people, our constituency, then I actually don't see anything wrong with it. I haven't heard attorney comments yet, but I think we need to hear from him exactly what the questions were he had about this agreement.
Yes, sir. Hey, Ms. Kim, this is Michael Schuler. The data set that you're being asked for, or you're asking for under this MOU with DEO, this is information that pre-COVID was already readily available to you, correct?
Correct.
And was the county under the pre-COVID data sharing setup? Were we required to provide the oversight of that information then, as opposed to the county oversight of the information that you're going to be getting under this MOU?
No, we never had separate agreements for this information. Only whatever is written in the local elected official agreement that you all have with us that maintains that, you know, you're in charge of making all of the appointments to our board, and that if we have disallowances in terms of spending, that the counties are responsible for those. I could go back and look at the PII or any of the security clauses in that, but we already have that agreement in place. So, but no, we've never requested data from DEO before that has required a separate security agreement.
All right. The concern that I had, Commissioners, is that this contract imposes upon the county commission a level of oversight of Kim Bodine and the information that she receives, how she protects it, what uses she makes of it. And as I had said in my email to her, we barely have enough staff at the county level to provide our own essential services. We certainly do not have enough staff or technical staff at that to oversight the management of this data that will be coming from DEO to Ms. Bodine's organization. The suggestion that I had, my question for her was, what are her thoughts on how we can resolve this additional layer of liability that the state is intending to impose on Franklin County? She has proposed a contract between the county and Ms. Bodine, which is, I would say, akin to agreements that we have with people who provide services at the hospital, who contractually agree to comply with the HIPAA regulations. So we would just have, I believe under this scenario, a separate contract between the county and Ms. Bodine's organization that she agrees that they will use the data appropriately, because there's not going to be, and I want it on the record, there's definitely not going to be any county oversight day to day. We're not going into their office to make sure that they're, you know, appropriately protecting the data and things of that nature, because we simply don't have the ability to do that. And frankly, I question why the state is even asking us to do that. But that was my concern with the agreement. But from a bigger public policy standpoint, as the commissioners have pointed out, is this gives our people an opportunity to get themselves into the system and hopefully get reemployed as quickly as possible once we are allowed to go back to work. So I think from a policy standpoint, we probably don't have much choice, but I did want the board to be aware of this additional layer of responsibility that the state is imposing upon the county.
Mr. Chairman, that was my question from the beginning. Being they're coming up with another level of having the county sign another agreement for the release of this information, is that going to adversely affect the people of Franklin County? If not, why is DEO implementing this extra level of oversight and everything else?
Ms. Bodine and I discussed that, I would say, not in detail, but we both had, I think, the same question as to why this is being required. I don't know that either one of us have an answer to that. Ms. Bodine certainly can chime in and speak for herself if there's something further to be clarified. It's just, this is what DEO is required of her organization and of the county before they will release the data. She needs the data in order to help our people, is the way I understand it. So we'll try and mitigate that risk to the county in terms of being responsible for the oversight of this confidential data through a separate agreement with Ms. Boding's organization, who we have had a very good working relationship with, and don't have a history of problems, so we have confidence in who, we're partnering with. But if DEO refuses to release the information under any other circumstance, then, it's like your hands are tied. How else do you help your people?
I guess my next question would be, Ms. Kim, is our surrounding counties already signed this MOU?
No, no one signed it because they've only given us a draft copy, which is what I forwarded to Mr. Schuler. But I wanted to go ahead and let for all of my counties, for Bay Gulf and Franklin, I've sent the draft to county managers and asked them to pass it on to their legal counsel, because DEO typically has not given us great turnaround time on these kinds of things. So I wanted to go ahead and give people time to look at it and understand it. All the state directors, there's 24 of us in the state, have pushed back and said, why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense to us. Why at this point are we now required to get another agreement with our local elected officials? We already have agreements that govern that. We already have agreements that we just signed with DEO that really had a lot of language in it that we didn't care for. And they said, well, our legal counsel said that we have to do this. And so that's the answer. None of us feel it's necessary. We just feel like it's creating issues with understanding why to try to explain it to you all. Why are we having to do this? But it's just it's been a new day with the agency, and I think this is the way that they're going to proceed on a lot of things that we are working with them on. I will tell you that we've never had a data breach. CareerSource Gulf Coast has never had a data breach. I'm not sure the agency can say the same thing. And we encrypt data. We're very careful with data because we understand how important it is and how it can affect people. So, I can just give you my assurance since I'm in a contract with you that the data will be protected.
Well, if a person drawing unemployment, they fill out their paper and says somebody need them, and they don't go, they're gonna lose their benefits, unemployment?
No. This has nothing to do with starting or stopping unemployment benefits. This is simply trying to help people who are unemployed who may want to go back to work, be aware of the help that we can give them, and to go ahead and get registered in the system so that puts them one step closer to getting their next job. And also, if the governor changes his mind before the benefits stop and says, okay, now everybody must work register in order to receive their benefits, we would have an enormous amount of people trying to come in to do that all at one time. And that would not be a good situation.
But wouldn't that look better if y'all do it by y'all being career so, than the county get involved? I mean,
yeah, we want to help. We want to help people in our region to navigate this stuff, and really, that's all we're trying to do is to reach out to people and let them know what we can do to help them with the next step of this, and try to be proactive about it.
I understand what you're saying, but my thing is, when things go wrong on a situation like this, and the county name in it, the first thing, they're not gonna blame y'all. They're gonna come back and say, if the county commission hadn't said that, we wouldn't have done it. It's gonna be blamed to us, not career so nobody else. The governor, nobody.
then we're kind of between a rock and a hard place, because if we don't do it, and then the governor changes and everybody starts having to look for a job, they could say because we didn't do it, we didn't sign off on this, they're now behind and everybody else is ahead of them.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
Well, Mr. Chairman, keep in mind, we're talking about a draft. We
Yeah.
have not gotten a final version, so the board is not in a position to make a decision right now, one way or the other. Since it was brought up and being discussed, we wanted to just flesh it out to the board, so you would, when the time came to make a decision, you would understand what those decision points are and what the policy issues are.
yeah, okay.
So with all that said, Kim, so when would be the date that the board has to make a decision to sign this?
You know, I would think that they are going to finalize this agreement in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
We've been asking for this data since March. We were hoping we would get it in, increments as individuals had their claims go through, so that we could, monthly start reaching out to people instead of trying to because we had, I think, over 16,000 people in Bay County alone apply for unemployment assistance, so that we could be working with people all the way through. But it has not has not moved very quickly. So I would hope that now that they have a draft, if they're looking for feedback from us, I will send along comments from the county commissioners and from their legal counsel. But I can tell you that in the past, when we've done that, we have not seen much change to their to whatever the agreement is that we're providing comments on. But so I feel like this draft will be made final in the next week or so.
Mr. Chairman?
Let me ask Ms. Kim, then but Ms. Kim, my thought is, once a person exhausts their benefits, if they wanna work, they coming to you anyway. You ain't gonna have to put nothing on record or nothing. That mean, they gonna be looking for a job.
Well,
The
that may
ones-
be
the
true in
ones-
Franklin
The ones who
County.
wanna work. I mean, you got some of them out there don't wanna work, but the ones who gonna wanna work, they coming to you. Or they gonna be hitting places who got openings and everybody, if they wanna work.
But if they all come to us at the same time, that's going to be an issue.
How many people do you have on record that are drawing unemployment benefits in Franklin County?
You have around 700. And we did not help all of those 700 people apply for their unemployment benefits. Those who had access to a computer and were computer savvy probably went through the process on their own. Those who didn't have access to a computer or made some kind of error on their application, we have dealt with most of those individuals.
But you the career, so y'all ought to be able to have people to get that done.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear all of that.
Now, I say y'all ought to be able to have extra folks on your squad to get, when you get in a situation like that, to get it done. By being.
Well, we only have 2 staff people in Franklin County, and if we have 700 individuals, I don't think all of them would come in. But if half of them all came in within a week or 2 of each other, it would be very difficult for us to help all of them in that time frame.
Go ahead.
Ms. Kim, this is Commissioner Parrish again. What do you think about having my legal counsel, Attorney Schuler, inquire of DEO of why this memorandum of understanding is needed? And just as you have done and other career source boards have done, it would be in support of the same questions you had, but to get an answer back from DEO to the county commission board here as to why we have this other layer of bureaucracy and wanting us to provide oversight and all this, and see if we can't get a better answer than what you had as a career source board member, I guess you'd say, or an organization, and see if we can't get some information back to us within the next 2 weeks as to why they're requiring this. And in the meantime, we'll be looking at the draft that everyone keeps talking about and make a decision when it comes, but actually trying to get some information ourselves, which is what you've tried to do. Do you think that would help any at all?
I would fully support that. I would love for someone outside of the workforce system to ask them those questions. I think that sometimes because they hear from us so much that they don't take our comments as seriously as they do from others, especially an attorney. So yes, I would wholeheartedly support that.
I'm gonna make a motion that we direct the county attorney to get in touch with DEO about this memorandum of understanding, why it's needed, why the information cannot be released to the workforce board as it always has been, without having another layer of bureaucracy, and try to get an answer back here within the next 2 weeks at the same time that we receive this draft and we have to make a decision as a board.
And I would second that.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Bolt. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes.
Hey, Ms. Kim, Michael Schuler, will you email me the contact information for the person at DEO I need to communicate with?
I certainly will.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hey, Ms. Kim, one more question. The information that DEO has apparently is names and addresses and phone numbers of people who are receiving unemployment benefits. Is that the key to this point that you need?
I'm not sure what the sticking point is for them. Like I said, we've always had this information in the past.
Yeah.
And they may have Social Security numbers attached to it. We don't have to have those. We could get by with the last four of socials. So, you know, I'm really at as much of a loss as you all are as to why they are requiring this agreement with local elected officials.
And that was my point altogether, is why it's being required. There's no mistrust of you, Ms. Kim, or how you work with our county and our constituency here in this county. That's not in question of your loyalty, your confidentiality, or anything else. It's more about what's coming out of Tallahassee and why it's coming out that kind of raises a red flag. It's not you or your organization. It's what's coming out of Tallahassee, and you're wondering, why are they doing this?
I understand, believe me. And I appreciate your kind words, but I agree. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
with the board's permission, and I don't necessarily know that I'm asking, and I don't think it's necessary to amend the motion, but I had mentioned earlier in my comments that we, frankly, as a small rural county, lack the staff and the technical staff to have any meaningful oversight of the data set being provided to Ms. Kim Bodine. Would it be objectionable or not objectionable to the board if I were to add some language to that effect in addition to the message that the board just approved, as stated in Commissioner Parrish's motion?
I think you
Because
should show them
we
that
do like the
reality.
resource.
I think that's good.
I would expect that.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, but I would expect that you add
Okay.
that in there.
That's right.
And we trust and you can also add in that we trust our local workforce board. We've always worked good with them. Why do we need this extra layer of bureaucracy and red tape and provide oversight, which we don't have the staff to provide?
Yep.
We don't have no misgivings or no mistrust of what Ms. Kim's organization does. I think I can speak pretty much for the whole board on that. I mean, she's always done the right thing for us and tried to help us, and I just don't understand, and it concerns me that I don't know why they're doing it.
And I get the chairman's concern clearly. The more stuff we get tagged to, the more stuff we get blamed for. That's, I mean, I think that's what you were saying simply, Commissioner. I mean, it's true.
Exactly.
I know, that's what he was saying, and I agree.
Anytime they put the county commission, they throwing it down here,
Yeah.
we gonna get the blame.
We're gonna be the whipping post.
That's right.
As usual.
Hey, Ms. Kim, don't you guys have, like malpractice insurance or bonding or anything like that that gives you layers of insulation that assures?
Yes, sir.
You do? I think that's
Yes.
really, that's a huge point right there for you. You know, DEO already ought to know how much insulation you have, fiduciarily speaking, like that.
Yes. We have criminal insurance. We are insured in all ways.
Well, you know, we ought to show them that. How well prepared your agency is to do this anyway.
Like you said.
Okay, and I can provide that for Mr. Schuler as well, to include in his whatever he puts together for them. That we have the kinds of insurance we need to protect ourselves. And not only that, all of our employees, anybody who has access to confidential information, signs a security agreement with us that is for the state of Florida that lets them know if they misuse any kind of confidential information that there are criminal penalties for that. So, we're covered.
And
I
then
feel like
doesn't
we're
DEO
covered.
come in and do site surveys for you guys every year?
They monitor us programmatically every
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Then we have federal monitors that monitor us as well.
There.
We have financial monitors. We have an independent financial audit. So yeah, we're monitored a lot. Then we also employ a full-time in-house monitor that monitors all of our programs and finances.
There you go.
On another question, did we vote, we done voted on this?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Or y'all ready to vote?
Vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous. On another issue, Ms. Kim, I don't know whether you're gonna bring it up or not. I don't wanna get ahead of you, but on the people who've been working on the workforce for us now, they were laid off this past week. Have y'all heard anything, know anything about if they gone, is that job gone for good, or if they gonna come back, or
What I've been told from our DEO contacts is that they feel like the extension and the new monies for the Hurricane Michael grant will be approved. They don't know if it will be approved at the full amount we requested. And for our region, Bay Gulf and Franklin counties, for the next 2 years through September 22nd, we requested $29 million. I believe the entire request was for $39 million some odd dollars. Richard Williams, who has the 5 counties that are north and east of me, has a much smaller program. And so the rest of those dollars are probably for his program. He's the workforce director there. So we are hearing favorably from DEO, who works with USDOL, that they believe it will be approved. And I just want you to know that we sent this proposal up. DEO sent this proposal up to the regional office on May 5th. So this has been there for some time. And then they send it on to the national office. They requested us to make a change, to shorten it by a year. They told us we had a 5-year threshold. So in my mind, we've had 2 years since the hurricane. So we asked for 3 additional years. But 5 years in USDOL time is actually only 4 years. I didn't know that. So we changed that and sent it back up to them July 2nd. They are saying that they statutorily have 45 days from the day they receive it. So they don't count it from the first time they receive it. They count it from the last time that they received it. I have reached out to our members of Congress, the offices of members of Congress, who are all inquiring about this as well. But DEO continues to tell me, and DEO has worked diligently on this as well. They've moved this forward very quickly. They have continued to tell us that they believe it will be approved, and they believe it will be approved before August 20th, but USDOL has until August 20th to make the decision.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
if there's some way we can write a letter to someone to help further your, and support you in that, we need these workers. We need them at our landfill. We need them with our parks and rec, especially during the COVID. But, you know, I know this is Hurricane Michael related, but, we can't get prisoners out to do anything, and our landfill is getting backed up because they don't have any help. So it's very detrimental to us that we get this, and if there's some way we can write a letter to whoever to help further support your mission, I'd be willing to the board, I think the board would be willing to back you up in that, because we've talked about this at our last 2 or 3 meetings about, well, what are we gonna do? We can't get prisoners to help us because of the COVID, and they don't want them out of the prison system, and we all know how the cases are spiking in the prison system right now. So
Right.
these are basically essential workers, and we need them. So anything we can do to help, we'd be glad to do that.
Kim, do me a favor, explain to the commissioners what we talked about last week, what they're telling all our state representatives and, you know, delegates. You know, when you've reached out to them, they're giving them this, when I say they're giving them the same August 25th story. Explain that.
Yeah.
'Cause-
So, yeah, they have called, they have, you know, emailed them, and they are still, USDOL is still sending back the same, you know, I would call it a boilerplate response, that statutorily they have 45 days from July 2nd, and they'll make a decision by August 20th. So they haven't let up on that. And I would say, I think it was Commissioner Parrish that was speaking, you all have supported me with a letter, and I have sent that up to Secretary of Labor with the package that went forward to USDOL. We had letters of support from all of our communities and most of the work sites within our communities, from mayors and local elected officials, et cetera. So we have sent all kinds of letters showing that we need this, and it's, you know, we have a lot of recovery left to do. But I'm very concerned that they may take up until August 20th because of COVID. I understand that a lot of their workers for USDOL are working remotely, and they've also had to, in a hurry, get out a lot of COVID money. So I am not as optimistic as DEO is that they will actually give us an answer before August 20th, but I will be very happy if they do.
Me too.
And I said state, I'm sorry, I apologize. I meant our federal delegates. That's who Kim and I talked about, you know. Are they understanding what's going on? And
Well, if we send out a letter of support, as Kim has stated, and that's pretty much all we can do, but I just wanted her to know that we're with her and support her, and we need these workers, and I guess we're waiting till August the 20th to see if we can get a response, and hopefully it all works out, because we sure need them.
We do, and we hate to have to lay people off, particularly now. But you know, when we don't have the money, it's just impossible for us. We have a burn rate of about $150,000 a week on this grant, so it's not something that's easy to cover. And then these funds are specifically for those workers and their salaries. So it's not something we could float with other money, is what I'm trying to say.
We understand.
Well, will you be contacting us after the 20th to let us know whether it's a go or not?
Yes, sir. I will contact you all as soon as we have an answer. And as soon as they approve it, typically it's a week or so before the actual money flows, but as soon as they approve it, we will start putting workers back on.
You think it'll be the same amount of people we had, or lower, or higher, or what?
I believe it'll be the same amount of people that we have there.
Okay.
And we may be able, depending on if they approve our full request or not, we may have a few slots that we can add. We've also requested more COVID money, and haven't really gotten a lot of response back to that.
But that'll be a different program, right?
It would be, but it's still necessary. The grants are different. They may be doing some of the things that they would do either way, but under COVID, where it's like you said, nobody is able to put the inmates out and these other issues that we're having, that could provide us some relief in the, in the waiting period. But at the rate they're moving, it's so slow that by the time we got it, we might have the Michael money. Who knows?
Okay. All right, I appreciate you letting us know, because people, they be like, it go back to that same thing we said, they asking the county commission.
They asked the county commission.
I understand. I apologize for the disruption. I wish we didn't have to. I wish that it could all move more quickly so we could just continue on and not have a break in operations.
It's not you, it's what, we know who it is,
Oh.
but way up the road. But when it fall down to us.
Yeah. The new grant would run through September of 2022.
Wow,
That's good.
that's good.
Couple of years, if they get it. I mean, when you get it. Ain't no ill.
Yes. We hope when we get it, yes.
Yeah. That'll be worth waiting on.
It will.
You got something else, Ms. Kim? Another issue or what?
No, sir. I appreciate y'all's time. I wish I could have brought better news, but we'll start working on this other agreement, and I appreciate your support on that. I do think it's important that they hear from our partners that, this seems to be a little bit of overkill and necessary, and I hope that might make them rethink some of it.
Okay, any of y'all got it? Anybody else got it? Well, thank you, Ms. Kim, and keep us informed.
Thank you.
Keep up
Stay
the good
safe.
work.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Commissioner, Ms. Belch on the line. I'm ready to mute her if you're ready to move on.
Go ahead. Next on the agenda will be Ms. Deborah Belcher.
Hey, Deborah, you there? Deborah? Oh, I don't know what happened. I think she accidentally cut herself off. She'll call back. Let's skip to Lori, and then we'll come back to Deborah. Lori, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so we'll go to Lori, and then we'll come back to Deborah. Go ahead, Lori.
Next on the agenda will be Ms. Laura Swiseman.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Lori Schweitzer Mills, Franklin County Sheriff. So the board approved a contract at your July 7th regular meeting to purchase Hurricane Housing Recovery Program homes for qualified county residents. What was not included in those contract totals were tag and title costs, permit fees and pump out fees, and inspections for some of the home recipients. Attachment 1 is a breakdown of each mobile home recipient amended cost. I'm requesting board action to authorize the amended contract that include the original bid amount plus costs and fees with Ironwood Homes for the 8 HHRP home recipients.
So moved. I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Master.
Second.
And on attachment 1 is the breakout and the new totals for everyone and an explanation up under it for what those fees are.
Second by Commissioner Perry.
And one thing before they continue, Finance sent me a message earlier to make sure that Attorney Schuler takes one last look at the final contracts as we approve it. So it'll be contingent on his approval, his review.
They're still all underneath the county bid policy.
Yes. Everything was bidded out.
The final
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Lori, go ahead.
I'm sorry, the final contract for which one exactly?
Huh? No, the final, no, I'm sorry, and I hate to confuse you, Lori. Finance just wanted to make sure that Schuler gave a last look at the 8 before we finished, before we executed, that's all. But that's not a big deal. Everything is.
Okay.
Yeah, the permits and fees are there.
Okay.
It's still lower than the one higher, so yeah, we're good.
Yeah, 'cause as soon as this is signed, they can start getting their trailers.
They're starting to come, yeah, rather quickly.
Do we need to amend?
They were supposed to be 2 of them delivered this week and then 4 next week. But due to the storm, everything's on hold.
Okay,
The hurricane that was out there. So I am not sure exactly when, but it's very soon.
Okay. Yeah, just contingent. That'll be fine. So could you amend your motion in a second, please?
We need the first and second motion amended, continuing on the lawyer review it.
Okay, so,
First been amended,
I'm in second.
second been amended. Any more discussion on that?
Mr. Chairman, I've got a question before we proceed.
Go ahead.
I just want to clarify. I know, Lori, what this is, but I think the public at large is confused about it. Because I've had some people ask me at work where I'm at, thinking that somehow these mobile homes that are being received by these people are tied to the CDBG stuff from the fire victims. I assured them that was not the case. It was a completely separate
Right.
pot of money. I just want to take the time and put it out there publicly while we're in a public meeting, so people understand that. This is all relocated
No.
from the storm.
It's
from Michael.
Hurricane Housing Recovery Program Fund. Yes,
Right.
sir.
Okay, that's all I was doing. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is from Michael, Hurricane Michael. And the county is not giving away the money, the state of Florida is doing it. Because people are, we had some people out there saying that too. So
Yep.
yes, and not fire victim money. It's the
It's
state
not.
of Florida from Hurricane Michael.
Right.
We got this from, it was in the newspaper before.
mhm.
Yes.
Miss Laurie had put it in the paper.
It's through Florida Housing for hurricane disaster.
Yeah.
And Michael had them in 18, right?
Yep, yes, sir.
And
October
they
8th.
just getting them. Michael,
Yeah.
Michael had them in 18, and they've been in the process. We know they were coming because they was approved, but it took this long for them to get there. It just so happened that both of them coming in at the same time. Some of the fire victims and some of the storm victims is coming in at the same time, and people are confused about it.
Yep,
But neither one of the trailers are being bought by Franklin County. They're being bought by the state of Florida, I think, both of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
Miss
Yep.
Laurie put it out there first, she had a problem, then the COVID-19 got it, now the storm's got it. It's been brought
Right.
up several times.
Yeah. Okay, y'all ready to
Mr.
vote?
Chairman, good if you explain to it, it's their money and their rules, because a lot of people think that it's you guys, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, it's
It's-
their money, it's the state rules, state guidelines, state money, state rules. The only thing we done with Ms. Schweikman asked us, can she advertise in the paper, and we okayed it.
Yep.
Okayed that part, that's the only thing we did. Rest of it is, want to talk to you, go talk to your gov or your representative. All right, y'all ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous. I'm glad for the people.
Move on? Okay.
Yes.
After performing the septic inspection, it was determined that 4 of the 8 recipients would need new septic systems. I got a list of certified public installers for this area and requested quotes, and of the 4 companies that I contacted, only Collins Construction of St. George Island provided estimates for the 4 home recipients. These estimates are based on visual inspections of the property, so Collins' estimates are the worst-case scenario. Some of the installation costs could be slightly over the county's maximum bid amount, and one of the septic installations may put a home recipient over the $75,000 limit. The septic installations will be paid from the HHRP funds. So I'm requesting board action to proceed with Collins Construction for the installation of the 4 septic systems.
Oh,
If any of the installations are over the board's $10,000 bid policy limit or causes any of the home recipients to go over the $75,000 program limit per household, these projects will be paused and brought to you for the approval at the August 18th meeting.
can I ask you a question? Laura, Ms. Whiten? Oh, is any out of these 2 could be hooked up on the city of Caribbean or the city of Appalachia? On the septic?
I really don't know that question. I don't think so.
Okay, I just was asking, I mean, it was something,
But I'm not sure.
I got one question, Mr. Chairman. Laura, as you stated, that some of these, if you install the septic, it may come over the $75,000 limit. Is there no way to bring that back into budget?
No, the one that I believe that's probably gonna be over the limit is in exposure D, which costed more, because they live so close to the bay. So, I don't think I can do anything about it.
Okay, that's just a question.
Our limit for that, for the new mobile home strategy, we put at 75,000. And, I think it's gonna be a little over, but I'm not sure. 'Cause I only have the estimate right now.
Okay, if it's over, you're gonna bring it back to us anyway,
Yeah,
correct? Okay.
what kind of
and I think it'll only be just one person.
system you putting in, aerobics or regular? Regular.
I'll make the motion to you, to go ahead and do what you gotta do till you come back if one's over.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Master,
Second?
second by Commissioner Bolt. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
All right, Lori, item 3.
Okay. Governor DeSantis authorized $120 million of the state of Florida's Coronavirus Relief Fund, which is CRF for short, allocation to Florida Housing Finance Corporation to assist Floridians that have been negatively impacted by the Corona-19 pandemic and struggling to pay housing expenses such as rent, mortgage payments, and emergency repairs that will keep families stably and safely housed. In general, the CRF is a portion of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security CARES Act passed by Congress into law by the President in March of 2020 in response to the economic fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic. Florida Housing CRF funds for impacted homeowners and renters will be administered by the local state housing initiative partnership SHIP program housing office in your community. Florida housing staff are working with the local governments and SHIP programs in preparation to begin the application process in each community as soon as possible. Franklin County will receive $175,000. The next step is for the Board of County Commissioners to approve and sign the CRF subrecipient agreement with Florida Housing Finance Corporation and the CRF subgrantee agreement between the county and I. Mortgage, rent, and utility assistance will be provided for very low, and moderate income applicants. Each household will receive a maximum of $2,500 in assistance. And this is all on attachment number 4 in your packet.
Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Got a motion
Yeah.
on the floor.
All right,
by
we are
Com-
required to advertise for 10 days before accepting applications. I plan to run the ad in the Times in the August 13th paper. Applications will be accepted on Monday, August 24th. The application period will be ongoing until the funds are spent. We will have packets available for pickup at the SHIP office on August the 13th. I am requesting board action to authorize the chairman's signature on the CRF subrecipient agreement and the CRF subgrantee agreement.
Pleasure of the
So
board.
moved.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey,
Second.
second by Commissioner Jones.
And I have a question.
Go ahead.
Ms. Laura, you gonna make sure that they actually need this before they get it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I sure am.
okay.
If you want me to go over the strategy, I can. It's attachment 4.
No, I'm fine. I've read up on it. I just wanna make sure that, you know.
Okay.
Be good.
Yes, they have to, they must show that they have been or are currently unemployed or underemployed due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, thank you.
And Ms. Laurie, I just wanted to
Yes.
verify that
Uh-huh.
the county is not liable for any of these recipients who might miss their rent payment or mortgage payment or anything like that. This money is just simply an added supplement for them. Would that be a correct statement?
I think so, yes. We're just helping them get caught up
Okay,
on their bills, you know, the ones that have been affected.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous.
Go ahead
Okay,
with
the
your,
next request, oh, I'm sorry,
I'm sorry, no, go ahead. Go ahead, Lori, with your second request that's in there.
Okay, I was requesting board action to authorize future payments of these funds if awarded. It is possible that we might get another round. I'm not sure exactly yet, but they were encouraging us to go ahead while we're getting the agreement signed, to go ahead and get it okayed for any future payments.
Pleasure of the board. Pleasure of the board. I need another.
As long as the board is, the county commission is notified if future payments come through, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Agreed.
There we go.
Sure thing.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by.
I have one last
Jones.
one on here.
Hold
Just
on,
a
Lori,
minute.
they're not finished yet. Hold on one second. Hold on.
Second by
Okay, I'm
Commissioner
sorry.
Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous.
All right, now you can go with the third request.
Okay. The third request is I need board action to revisit the applicants if the funds are still available and pay future rent, mortgage, and utility payments over the 2,500 limit. This would ensure that the funds are spent by the December 30th deadline. Because if they're not spent, we have to send them back, and we never know how many people are going to apply. So that's just in a worst-case scenario. If we don't have that many applicants, we could go back and pay more for the existing ones. I guess first one, first served.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, Lori, I think that you should bring this back to us at the 1st of December, and then let's look at
Okay.
what funds are left over, because I don't want to allocate these funds in October or November, and then you have more applicants come in later, and now the money's done been expended and done been allocated. I would rather wait.
Okay,
I'd rather wait and work through this thing to the last meeting in November or the first
Yeah.
meeting in December, and then look at, you know, if there's monies available to help with the future. But I think you're gonna have more applicants than what you think. And I don't,
Right,
I want to
I
spread it
agree.
out so that everybody has an opportunity to receive assistance if they need assistance.
She said it had to be.
Okay,
by
that's,
December
we can
20.
do that.
This first round or all of it?
Get more, if we get more cases right now, it's happening, like Smokey said, you're probably gonna have more people out of jobs here than you can use it. I second the motion you got.
What the chairman is asking too, Lori, he's asking all the money, so if you get a second round of funds, will that amount have to be spent by December too, the end of December?
That they have not said. We have
Okay.
another training tomorrow, and I can ask that question, but I really don't know. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if those would have to be spent by then too.
Probably not, because it's getting later through the,
Oh,
They haven't said. I know they just said, make sure we spend them all.
yep.
All of these by December 30th. So
That's
we don't
it.
have to send any money back, because we will have to if we don't.
That's this first 175,000 they told you. That what you talking about, Ms. Laura?
Say that one more time. I'm
He's
sorry.
asking, so, again, the December rule to spend or send back, would that be applied just to the 175, or if they send you additional funds?
She don't know.
Right now, I'm going to say it is to the 175. I will try to find out the answer to that
Okay.
maybe tomorrow.
And then.
I don't, they
that'll determine
didn't
when she
say. They
comes back.
just said we might get another round. It just depends on if we spend it all and how quickly. So it might apply to that too.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I think it's probably gonna go to how many applicants you have and how fast you go through this money, and not making future
Right.
payments, but that money that's being utilized now, today, tomorrow, not in the next 6 months. And that's the reason I didn't wanna go through with the future payments and, helping them pay the electric bill in
Right.
February, March of next year, when you may have applicants that come to you that actually need some money now. And if you expend all of that,
Right.
if we get enough applicants and we spend all of that before December, then it probably helps your chances of getting another round. You understand what I'm saying?
True.
But if you spend that money on
I do, yes.
future utilities and future mortgage payments, you're gonna say, well, they really don't need it because they didn't have that many applicants come forward. But I think you're gonna have more than you think, Laura. I really do.
Oh, I already know they've already been coming in, and unfortunately, a lot of them, they're hearing about it on the street, and we can't help them if they're like on Social Security and they didn't lose any income. We can't help them. They won't qualify.
Okay. Well,
So I've turned a lot of them away. I guess they'll have to go to Capital Area Community Action, because she'll have funds also. I just have different rules.
we understand.
Capital Area got money
Yeah.
too, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, what Lori explained to me, sir, is that community action, they're going to get a set of money too. What she thinks is that they're going to be confined to just low and very low. Only the SHIP program will be able to help the medium income level. So we got to work with CAP as best as we can to try and move the low, very low to community action, and us try to help as many as the medium incomes as we possibly can. So that, as Commissioner Parrish says, everybody gets a slice of the pie. It's a little tricky, but we're gonna try our best. Well, not we, Lori and Angela are gonna try their best to get this worked out.
Yeah, we can work together. We've already talked about it.
Mr. Chairman.
We got to vote.
I think that's all I
Well,
have.
I was gonna take, I don't think we need a motion for this third one, we just, Lori
Yeah,
understands.
I want to have a clarifying question if I could, Mr. Chairman.
Good.
Was the question, Lori, that you asked the board was permission to exceed a cap of money in the event that the applicant pool is smaller than expected? And what would be the authority for us as a county to exceed a cap that the state has imposed on the use of this funds?
That's our cap.
The state, that's our cap. The
It's our
state,
cap? Okay.
the county can put any cap they want on it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll, like I said, I was asking for the
Yeah,
clarification, 'cause I wasn't
and
sure.
my
All I heard was
question
exceed a
You know,
cap.
if it gets close to December 30th and the funds have to be spent, and I don't have any applications to spend it, could I go back? And like we said, we'll just come back to the board with it, and
Yeah.
you can tell me to go ahead and go pay more.
Yeah.
on some stuff.
I think they'll want to
Yeah.
they'll want to update from you sometime in November. I'll even venture to say early
Okay.
November, and then from there, they can make a decision. That's what I think that's what the board is asking for.
Mike, I actually think she needs to come back starting in September, once a month.
Okay,
September, to keep the
Yeah,
board abreast
monthly
of
meeting,
what's
yes.
going on. So if the
Okay.
board has other people that's come to them, then they can refer them to Lori to see if they might qualify.
okay.
And we know where we at as far as how much money's been spent, how much is left over, and keep the public informed that there's still funds available or the funds have already been expended.
All right,
I think
It'll
that
be
that's what-
spent,
good
Yeah.
idea.
it'll be spent in September.
Okay,
Trust me.
The chairman said, Lori, all the money's going to be spent in September, but we'll see. We'll
it
see.
probably will, I have a feeling.
We'll see.
It'll be gone.
Okay, I think that's it for Lori. That's it, Lori?
Yep, that's all I have.
We done done all the voting.
Thank you, Laurie.
Thank
We
you.
voted on everything, right?
Yes,
On what needed to be voted, yes, sir.
Okay.
yes. Thank you.
Laura. Keep up the good work.
Okay, so now I have Ms. Belcher back in the line, Mr. Chairman, so I can unmute her. And Deborah, you there?
Yes,
Okay, state your name for the record, and you can start your report.
Okay, Deborah Belcher, Romelis Planning and Development Services, the county's CDBG consultant administrator. So just to refresh your memory, in the past, I have asked for board approval of individual homeowner applicants for assistance before I went ahead and, put them on the bid list or anything like that. So, that's where we were. So in case you see a couple of things on it, the agenda report a couple of times instead of once, that's, it might look a little odd. So, okay, the first action item is modification of the CDBG agreement, and that is to extend the grant period. We currently are, close to the October 1st expiration date, and we will be, well along our way by that time, but I can't see the county committing to being done by October 1st. So we need to extend the grant, and DEO does not have a problem with that.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
Okay, so item number 2 is one of those things where I was telling you, I bring you the application. So William Gordy, he applied rather late, but I went ahead and put him in the bid package that we did recently for new mobile homes. So I'm just asking for formal approval on his application at this stage.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Massey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
Number 3, Billy Dalton, he already got a donated mobile home, but he has applied for the CDBG program, and the intention that Angela Webster and I came up with was for Mr. Dalton's mobile home to go to a young family that had a camper previously, and they need a permanent home. They have taken the initiative of buying a piece of property. They're getting the septic tank, that kind of work taken care of. So what we would do is purchase a new mobile home from Mr. Dalton, and his would go to that family, and then the Community Action Agency would pay for the setup cost for that donated mobile home to be set up. CDBG funds don't touch it.
Question. I'll make a motion.
I make a second item question, Mr. Chairman.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Jones. Discussion.
Ms. Deborah, the one that's gonna be relocated for Mr. Golden and Ms. Yao, that's gonna be in Home Place, correct? Off of Ridge Road?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay. Just making sure that's what I was understanding correctly.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed.
All right, so item 4, because we had a bid package that came in, we only had one proposer this time. I don't know why. The Clayton Homes had intended to get us a proposal, but their salesperson got tied up with a bunch of personal issues and did not submit a proposal. So Ironwood Homes came in, and all of the homeowners are happy with the proposals that were submitted. And we have this on the agenda for the July 21st meeting. And of course, you know, that was canceled. So due to the urgency of the situation, County Coordinator Morone said to go ahead and have these items ratified. So I would request, first of all, that there be a formal acknowledgement of a waiver of the CDBG limit of $75,000 because of the 7 homes that we need to go ahead and bless. 5 of them are over the limit for various reasons, everything from tree removal to one of them is a new location that needed new utility hookups.
Is it a vote?
So moved.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Master,
Second.
second by Commissioner Jones.
So I want to be clear, so the motion is the waiver plus the ratification of all the units,
Yes.
correct, Commissioners? Thank you.
All at one time, right?
All one time.
Is it, how much it went up?
Some of them a couple, over the 75, one is 77.5, one is 80. The highest one looked like the one for 80,000, yeah.
And that does include, that includes a sewer bore, so there's going to be some benefit to a future household next door at some time.
Oh, so the next door neighbor could tap into that sewer bore, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, sewer pit, when you put a pit down, it can serve 2
Yeah.
to 4 houses.
Yes. And this is the question you were asking, Commissioner, so here, Chairman Lockley, is that some of these could tie into the city, I'm sorry, the water sewer district, sorry.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous.
Okay, and that was all the action items I had. Bonnie Langley, I had hoped we would have something from her by now. She is included in the bid package. We did get a price for her mobile home replacement to be done on the lot that she actually owns, which is next door to where she's living. And there are some, homeowners who are not located on the property they thought they owned, and they're trying to get that worked out. But of course, I did not include a price to put her on a piece of property that she doesn't own. So we'll have to get a revised price, but it would be lower than the price that we got because the one that we did get a price for includes new utility connections and tree removal. So where she's living is actually a better place as far as the cost to do her home replacement. So I'll be bringing that back to you hopefully very soon.
Okay.
And that's it. That's all I have for today.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Deborah. Talk to you soon.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Commissioner, so I guess I'm next.
Next on the agenda will be Mr. Michael Morone.
All right, Commissioner, so we start on page 12, item 3. We did 1 and 2 earlier with Pam. In 2018, the board entered into a 2-year professional services agreement with Dubarry Engineer for project management, engineering, and environmental services for FEMA-funded recovery. This agreement included options for renewals up to 5 years. It has expired, well, the first 2 years it's expired. I recommend renewing this contract for the last 3 additional years.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Pass unanimous.
Item 4, Commissioners, task or Dubarry task orders. There are 3 task orders from Dubarry for the board's review and approval. The first one is for them to assist with survey, design, bidding, and contract award and construction inspection of the repairs to County Road 38, east and west washout areas. These professional services will be performed as described in the task order. Number 4, for a lump sum of $59,250. The second one is to assist, they will assist with survey, design, bidding, and contract award and construction inspection of the repairs to the East Point Fishing Pier and Parking Area and the ADA restroom. These professional services will be performed as described in task order number 5 for a lump sum amount of $39,750. And finally, the third one, they will assist with design, bidding, and contract award and construction inspection of the repairs to the St. George Island Fishing Pier Road. These professional services will be performed as described in the task order number 6, that for a lump sum of $9,600. Board action to approve, all 3?
So moved.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Massey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
Commissioners, we did 5 and 6 already. We could turn to page 13, item 7. At an earlier meeting, the board waived the county's bid policy to save on mobilization costs and authorized Roberts & Roberts to pave roads in the county. Commissioner Massey has asked for a proposal to pave Sybil and Court Streets in his district. Roberts & Roberts submitted a $70,135 proposal to pave these streets, which will be paid from District 4 paving funds.
So
Mike,
moved.
Sir.
Mr. Chairman, my district is 4.
Oh, 5.
I
I'm so
just
sorry.
wanted- I just
I'm
wanted
not
to
touching
reflect
money. Yes, sir.
correctly In the record.
Yes.
I just wanted to reflect correctly in the record.
Lori, please make sure that's District 5, so I don't get in any more trouble I'm already in. Okay.
I'll second your motion, Commissioner Massey.
Thank you.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
I'm spending your money, sir. The next item is item 8. The Florida Department of Transportation has signed agreement for the resurfacing of County Road 38 from Gulf County Line to 13 Mile Road and returned that agreement to the county along with a notice to proceed. The board needs to authorize the planning department to advertise for construction, engineering, and inspection consultant for this job.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
Item 9 is for the same thing, except this is for the resurfacing of County Road 67 from Highway 98 to the Crooked River Bridge. And they returned the agreement along with a notice to proceed. The board needs to authorize planning department to advertise for CEI consultant for this job for 67 road project.
So moved.
So move.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Burke. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
Item 10, the county commission received the coastal construction control line permit from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for construction of the Alligator Point multi-use path. The next step in the process is to advertise for CEI services and construction bids for the portion of the multi-use path from the marina to Tom Roberts Road. Due to time constraints and the cancellation of the July 27th meeting, the planning office has already submitted the required advertisements to the newspaper. The CEI proposal will be open on September 1st, and the construction bids will be open on September 15th. I need a board to ratify staff's submittal of the required advertisements.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Burke, second by Commissioner Massey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
Item 11, the bid documents for the County Road 67 Tallahassee Street Sidewalk Project inadvertently included the wrong wage decision, that's a form, for the contractor to follow. That's instructions. FDOT requires that Franklin County and the contractor, M of Tallahassee Incorporated, amend the contract to reflect the new 2020 wage decisions. M of Tallahassee has signed the amendment. Board action to authorize the chairman's signature on the wage decision amendment form.
So move.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Masters, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
Next, Opportunity Florida is working on the Regional Rural Development Grant application for the 2020-21 year and is requesting a letter of support that will state the county will continue our involvement with Opportunity Florida and intends to pay the 2021 annual investment $1,154.90 dues. And to include that, we still support Opportunity Florida. Board action to authorize that letter of support for Opportunity Florida.
So moved.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Masters, second by Commissioner Jones.
Discussion, Mr.
Go
Chairman.
ahead.
What do we receive out of Opportunity Florida now? Are we getting some benefit out of this?
Yeah, Commissioner, they have sent us a lot of leads and stuff that they come across,
Leads for what?
like jobs and possibilities, like say the airport. Say anybody that they think we can use the airport for some kind of industry, they'll send
I
stuff
was
like
just
that.
wondering in this application that they're working on, this Regional Rural Development Grant application, or is there something in there for Franklin County?
That I'll have to ask. I don't know enough about that to
They're
answer that
asking for a
question.
letter of support, and then they ask for $1,100 and something dollars.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how we benefit from that. I mean, that's all.
The dues are in your budget, number one, so
Right.
that's something we do. But yes, I mean, and they do. There's a lot of back and forth between us if we need help. As a matter of fact, you'll see here in a few more items that the CARES Act fund, Tracy's going to team up with them, and they're going to be an extra layer of approval. I mean, there will be a small minimal cost. She said it's not too much as far as she's concerned. But they will back her up, and they will review every business grant that we receive out there for that CARES Act money, and they will do that service for us, again, at a minimal fee. So, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't sit here and pin it down for you. It's a lot of back and forth and emails, and they'll ask us questions, or we'll ask them, and they'll help us.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We didn't vote yet, right? No, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That pass unanimous.
Okay, so item 13, I'll be very honest with you guys, because I always am. Shouldn't say it that way, should I? Attorney Schuler. So, I know that comes out wrong. How did I say that? Anyway, Liberty County, this request came late last night, yesterday evening. I didn't have the time to do the research on it. I put it on out of the respect of Liberty County Board of County Commissions because they asked for it. So I don't think there'll be much heartache if we table it until I could find out more, but because they asked, I wanted to put it on the agenda and let you guys talk about it. So the Liberty County Board of County Commissioners wrote a letter, which is attached to your packet, to USDA Forest Service, opposing the closing and/or moving of the camping area adjoining Whitehead's Lake Boat Landing on Ocklackney River, located in Liberty County. Their county commission would like Franklin County Board of County Commissioners to send a letter in support to the Forest Service, basically opposing it also. Again, I don't know enough about it. I was going to talk to Mark, an opportunity to see what it's all about and what's actually going on. So,
Go ahead.
As it relates to the U.S. Forestry Service, you know, Liberty County is comprised of a bunch of national forests. And if they don't get anything out of the PIP allotment from the federal government, then they don't have a big tax base, which is why they're at 10 mills and trying to generate enough money to operate the county. And then you get the Forest Service coming in and wanting to change, close up boat ramps and stuff. So they get no benefit.
Yeah.
Public benefit, no money, no nothing. So I understand where they're at.
Okay.
And I support this, and I make a motion to.
oh,
Me too, I second it.
good, thank y'all.
I don't want to close that boat ramp.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Master. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Pass unanimous.
Chairman Lockley, I'm surprised you didn't make one bad comment about the state or the federal government on this deal. You're letting that one slide, okay? It's probably late in the afternoon, I know, okay?
They always do.
That's not like you, but okay. All right, so item 14.
I'm wrong.
Amy and I met with a representative from Civitech to discuss their online one-pay credit card service. Currently, Any customer that needs to pay for a permit or any other service in our office over the phone has to give all the credit card information to one of our permitting clerks. And then we process it here, and then we destroy that information. I'm not comfortable with that. With the one-pay service, a customer would go on to an online link to pay for the permit, the armory rental, any other services we provide, then receive the requested service. We'll get an email back saying that they've paid, and then we could process the permit or whatever. Currently, the clerk of courts uses the same service for her office as does the city of Carabel for water and sewer payments. Attorney Schuler has requested some changes to the contract, which was returned yesterday with the requested changes. I didn't send it to you yet, did I? Nope. So, I'm asking board action to authorize the chairman's signature on the agreement, providing Attorney Schuler approves the final version of the agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous.
Item 15, if I may, as discussed at the previous meeting, staff requested quotes from 4 companies to install multiple large-screen televisions in this meeting room for virtual meetings and presentations for planning and zoning, etc. Of the 4 requests, we received 2 quotes, and I went with the lower of the 2. I signed a proposal with Inspired Technology. They're an official Florida Association of Counties partner for $7,250. This amount will be paid from the CARES Act funds received from the state. Thus asking the board to ratify my action as I proceed to go ahead and sign that agreement to get them to start working on it as soon as possible.
So move.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Bowe, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous.
At your budget workshop, the board discussed the importance of creating an assistant planner position, as Mr. Mark Currington, your county planner, is in the state's drop program and can retire at any time. I discussed this matter with Mr. Currington, along with the option of working with the Appalachia Regional Planning Council for this service. Mr. Currington suggested a meeting with ARPC, him and myself, to discuss the county's planning needs, excuse me, versus what ARPC could actually offer the county. Then have a discussion with this board at a future meeting as to what his recommendation is with moving forward with this idea of assistant planner. I'm just asking for the board, authorize Mark and I to meet with ARPC to discuss future planning services.
Praise the board.
So moved.
Yeah.
Second.
Yep.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous.
All right, Commissioners, information items 18, of course, informed the board that staff received a letter, which I think I forwarded everybody already from the Corps of Engineers, updating us on the status of East Point and 2 Mile Dredge project. A copy of the letter is in your packet, if you want to disseminate that. CARES Act funding, I'll blow through that here because Ms. Busby is on another meeting anyway, so she could not call in. She's been meeting and discussing and working with constitutional officers, county departments, civic groups, the Tourist Development Administrator, Health Department Administrator, and even, I think, business associations. She's collecting requests from these entities, creating an expense spreadsheet that we will convert into a spending plan. The Oversight Committee meets weekly via teleconference to discuss and review all related issues and requests. We meet on Wednesdays at 1:30. Ms. Busby is in constant communication with FDEM regarding any new rules or questions posed to her locally, and has also reached out to Opportunity Florida to serve as a business grant applications reviewer. She was supposed to be on the phone, but we took a little later than we thought we would. So if you guys have any questions, let me know, and then tomorrow at 1:30, I can ask her any questions you guys may have as to where we are.
I definitely have a question, Mr. Chairman. Michael,
Sir?
as it concerns the business side of this, when we get down to it, are we using the simplest way for businesses to be able to apply?
I've seen the emails that they think it's too difficult. I think she is, Commissioner, but the scary thing about it, no matter, as the email said about the mom and pop store, we have to verify that they have received no other money.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand.
so that's why I think she's going through this process, because, as you all are very well aware, if they did receive money and they didn't say it, we get penalized, so we have to go after them, and that's a bad situation. So I think, yeah, she's trying to make sure up front that she's getting as much information as possible. It looks and sounds difficult. I think if you sit down and you talk to her, she gets it worked out really easy. But we're trying, and if we need opportunity for her to jump in there and help us with it, they're willing to do that too.
Okay.
But is this close to what you call all this here can be together, it's just different programs. What you call, we talking about this morning,
Eric,
yeah.
I don't know much about what Eric, the funding he was talking about. I'd
They're
have to
talking
look.
about their own separate allotment they've gotten
Yeah,
through the IFAS extension is what I understood.
yeah, that's what's happening. A lot of people are getting the different pots, and that's another thing you have to make sure. I'm glad you said that, sir, because if you have gotten money from Eric's pot, and you don't report that, and you get money from us, now who does the feds claw back on? Is it us? Is it Eric? I don't know, you know?
Mr. Chairman, at what point does this board have input into what we're spending this money on?
As soon as we finalize the spreadsheet and come up with a draft spending plan, then I'm gonna bring it to you guys. And then you guys say, no, I don't like that number, change the amount here, this line item, because we're trying to break it down as to what goes to the county, what goes to your constitutional officers, what goes to, two cities, thank you, sir. And then civic clubs and business association. So we're trying to get that spreadsheet as close to possible within the budget of the $2 million, then bring to you and you guys
But you
could
don't
tweak it.
think that we should have input before we get there?
But it's hard for us, I mean, you could, the problem is you're gonna ask me questions.
Even the information, we're getting nothing.
Yeah, but if,
Until you come up with a final draft, we're getting nothing. We don't know what's going on.
well, I
And
could.
I'm uncomfortable with that.
Okay.
Because if all these entities, whether it be cities, businesses, or whatever, saying, yeah, you qualify, you get this, yeah, you qualify, and the board has no input.
Yeah, but we're not approving anything.
Well, I understand, but you're building up expectations when the board has no idea of what's going on.
Okay.
So in other words, we're not getting I don't like doing that. I like having information of how we're progressing, what we're looking at, where we going, how we get there, instead of building up expectations and then snatching the rug out from under them because you don't like it, or you got an issue. I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
I got you. I got you.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
I got you.
Who is the oversight committee?
It's Tracy, myself, Pam, and I think maybe Jennifer might have some input, but mostly Tracy, myself, and Pam.
I'd like to be more informed of what we're looking at, where we're going, which direction we're headed before the final.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
You know, because if I think we're going down the wrong road, I'm gonna say that, you know, we don't need to be doing this, or we don't need to be doing that, but if you don't have no information, you don't know what's going on.
Okay.
The oversight committee does, but I don't as a commissioner. I'd like to have information sent to my iPad where I know where we going, what are we doing?
Okay.
Who's applying for what? You know,
Yeah.
you just need more information
But
than putting it into a spreadsheet, and then that's kind of like the final deal, and then at the very end, if the board don't like something, then we're the bad guy because we snatched it out. I mean,
If I may, sir, let me say a couple of things. First, the only people that have seen the spreadsheet is the oversight committee. So it's not like the public or any other agency, anybody else has an idea of what they think they might get. We've asked them, what would you like? What is your wish list? And we're trying to go through it and see what's allowed and what's not allowed. Then our intention was never intention to leave the board out, is to bring it to you and say, okay, based on all the requests we got, this is what is allowed, this is what we could spend, because, for instance, the $500,000 for the 25% that comes back to your revenue, that wasn't thought about in the beginning until it just popped up here, so we had to make some more adjustments. So it's not, we're trying to keep you guys out, we want to make sure that we give you an informed, very well put together package to look at, but be assured, nobody else is seeing it. So a business could send an application, we're not saying you're approved, denied, nothing like that.
so this, businesses are included in this.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
what if
we
I
have
have
to.
businesses come to me that wants to be included, but now the money's already been allocated in the spreadsheet? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you may have to break down those businesses to be able to include more people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I don't know what's going on, what am I supposed to tell the people?
Well, yeah, because what I'm expecting is the board will decide, If we show you the breakdown, how much money do you think should go to businesses versus how much money should come to the county? How much money should we give to the cities? But that's a board discussion and decision once we have a fair grouping of what they want. Because without knowing what they want, we can't tell you what the numbers are close to be or should be. So that's where we're heading. And again, it was not our intention to keep information
But
from you
whoever's
guys.
included in this spreadsheet needs to be notified that this is subject to change. Because there may be more businesses that won't be involved. There may be other, so if they want $500,000, well, you might not get it because there may be more people that want to be included also.
Yeah.
So they need to know this up front. You understand what I'm
I
saying?
got you.
I don't want them to come with the expectation that
I got you.
we applied for $300,000 and it sounds good and it looks like it all fits on the spreadsheet. But then when the board looks at it, there may be other people or other businesses or other entities that want to do something. And they're excluded because the money's done been spent. So as we're putting together the spreadsheet, I'll just tell you, as you work with the consultant as part of the oversight committee, none of this is guaranteed because there may be more people wanting to get in. The Board of County Commissioners have not seen this yet.
That's right.
And people may have come to them individually that wants to be included in the plan also. So you can't just fund certain and not have other people included. That's all I'm trying to say, Mike.
Yeah, and
I don't want to be on the oversight committee. That's
no,
not what I'm
I
saying.
know, I know. I know.
But I
And,
do,
uh,
I do feel like that as you're putting together this spreadsheet,
Yeah,
say if the board hadn't seen it, be advised that, what you're applying for and what you get could be two different things.
Yeah.
So that you don't build up expectations. Oh my God, now they done went and cut my allocation.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I got you.
Which puts the board in a bad position when we have to do that.
yeah.
So make sure they
I will.
know that this is a wish list type thing.
That's exactly what it is, a
Okay,
wish.
so make sure these people know that.
And I'll say this to y'all in the beginning, I thought we would have a hard time spending 2 million. Wrong answer.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Wrong
saying.
answer.
The board hadn't even seen it yet. The board may have a
Well,
different idea.
Yeah.
My thing is this, you got a similar program, what Eric was talking about the moment. That's gonna get, why one of them, why the private sector and the government got to be together when they got healed with a hole in the private sector? Look like that program there should be handling just the private, and the government, that one should be handling the government.
All of this has to be COVID-19 related.
All of it.
Whether it's a loss of revenue or a project that you got planned, if it's not related directly to COVID-19, then you can't be approved. That's why this money's gotta be spent, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
Yeah,
correct.
but you got people, that's what I'm saying, the people, the private sector, what lost money should be going over there, and the government, if they lost money.
And when it comes to businesses, if you receive a payroll protection plan, or loan, or grant, or whatever you want, then you're not eligible for this.
That's right.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's what you were saying earlier. If you received help anywhere else, you're not eligible.
Yeah,
Can't double dip.
you can't double
So
dip. Yeah,
that's-
exactly.
that
That's a
could-
term that they use.
That could really affect.
Who gets help?
Yeah, and it could also affect by how much money you receive through the payroll protection plan. Well, you didn't get that, so somebody could receive an astronomical amount out of this because they didn't get the payroll protection. If you got a payroll protection, you might not have got $25,000, but through our program, you might qualify for 50 or 60. Is that fair?
It is fair, and here's the other thing, haven't we already asked businesses to turn that in? Haven't they already passed a deadline of when they have to turn their application in?
I think she put a August 1st deadline, only to come up with kind of a figure of wishes so we can present some to you guys as soon as possible to see what the ask is. Now, understand, and I want to be very clear here, just because they submitted an application, they're not promised, guaranteed,
Well, I understand
or
that.
even, so putting in something, because if they don't have the appropriate paperwork, then it's not worth the paper it's written on, to be very honest with you.
So what about the businesses that didn't know what we're talking about right now?
Mm-hmm.
They've seen the deadline as the deadline, so they're doing their best to get it submitted. And
All
you're
right.
saying the paperwork.
I'll ask her
You know
tomorrow.
what I'm
Yes,
saying?
I got you.
Then what do you do?
Yeah,
Because they seen a deadline, they're doing their best to meet that deadline.
Yes, I'll ask her tomorrow and
I mean,
see
that's an issue.
what she said about that. I just think she was trying her best to get a grip of who'll be asking for what to present it to this board. You
Right.
see, and that's what I think she was working on. Was it a hard deadline? I'll have to ask her. But the chairman keeps talking about what the Eric's program. Was Eric's program just for seafood businesses, or
No,
was
but
it
it had
for business?
included stuff in it for seafood
They had
related
included
businesses.
seafood.
okay.
Yes.
It was for
Yeah.
other businesses too,
Okay,
but it was private sector.
okay.
Right. But it could also include, in other words, like,
I mean, well, I
Some-
wonder can the government go in there and get some of that?
because somebody's guide fishing, that's a private business, but it's seafood related.
So,
What
Chairman Lockery, what you want me to find out tomorrow when we meet is basically, look at this pot of money and see if there's anybody applying for us to apply there, so our money could be spread further. Is that what I'm
Right,
hearing?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Mr. Chairman, if I may. Michael, I think that bigger issue we're gonna run into, like you said just a minute ago, I don't think it's gonna be very hard to spend $2 million
Nope.
by December, the end of December. And I think it would behoove us more to kind of, not really, to kind of pump the brakes a little bit and not try to get hard and fast numbers right now, but try to come up with better numbers. So when it is presented to the board, these are really solid numbers. You know, because we've thrown out deadlines, we've done other stuff, and it's kind of, you know, we still got 4 months,
Yeah.
4.5 months.
But in following what Commissioner Parrish said, I want to make sure the board is part of the
Yes.
inception, the ground
Yeah.
floor, as we build up to how we're going to break down this money. Because there's a lot of categories, and we have to find a way to be fair about it as best as possible. So in following the chairman also, well, if the business can get money from this other program that Eric talked about this morning, then we need to steer them in that way. The same way I talked about the funding for the housing utilities. If low and very low, there's a bigger pot over here by community action, go over there. You know, let's just try to deal with the moderate here because our money's more restricted. See, so,
Yep.
but I hear you guys, and I'll make sure I bring all this up tomorrow.
Mr. Chairman, I thought this spending plan we were doing was an initial $500 or $500,000 lot. Listening to you a while ago, we're doing it for the whole $2 million lot.
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, your first, the 25% you got, that probably will have to go in reserve until a decision is made by the legislature, the federal government, about the Heroes and Heals Act, both in there about using it for revenue, for counties to use it for revenue shortfall.
So that's what we're gonna do with the first 500,000?
I think that's what we're gonna do with 500,000. I'm not.
Period.
Yeah, period,
But we
yeah.
got spending, we're already spending some of this initial $500,000,
Yes, very little.
like on the sign campaign, like on all the work you've done in your office and other things.
There's, yeah, the TVs that we're
along
gonna
with
put
the
in here, yeah,
TVs. I
yeah.
mean, so some of that $500,000 is already
Mhm.
gone. So we can't use that for the 25% you're talking about for lost revenues and other things.
Yeah, but it's basically our reimbursement. So, we can basically spend it how we like. Either use the first 500 to pay back the bills quickly and put a whole, which we are doing, putting 500,000 in reserve. We're not gonna touch that. That's not there because we're saving that for revenue. And then at some point, when the Heals or Heroes Act, whichever one passes, you know, then we could put that, pump that into the budget and lower the millage rate even more. That's our plan. That's my plan. You know, so, yeah. But the first 5 or the next 1.5, yeah, it's, you get 5, I don't like seed money, you get 500 up front, but you still have access to the other 1.5 as you need it.
Well, and additionally, Michael, some of the language in either the Heroes Act or the Heals Act, whichever one you're looking at, there's language in there, if it gets approved, that basically states that it's gonna move the timeline for this money as well.
There you go. But if we spend it before that.
But you got, it's fluid, is all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
very much so. But I will bring up all your concerns today, tomorrow, and we have something to you guys soon. Then if I may, oh goodness, 21 was about the small county, I just needed to get that in the record to get a copy of it to Lori because the chairman signed that, but that's part of the budget, so that's good. 22, I finally received the official notice from USDA de-obligating the $10 million loan for the Weems improvement project that was obligated on June 22nd, 2015. And if I may, I want to say something, because this morning a few comments were made about the whole which way we went. I want to make sure it's very clear. We said we were going to start negotiation with Alliant. Sacred Heart sent us a letter, and I guess, I thought I put it in the record before, but I'll repeat it again. If I don't, I'll put it in the record today. Sacred Heart sent the county a letter pulling back their offer. The county never said no to them. Sacred Heart sent the county a letter pulling their offer back, not too long after we started said that we were going to start negotiating with Alliant first. So I want to make sure that's clear to the board and the public. We never actually said no to Sacred Heart. You see, what we did say is that we're going to start negotiating with Alliant first and see how that works out.
Yeah.
If you remember, Commissioner Parrish was very clear. He said, I want to give this a chance and see how this works out, and then if it
Yeah.
doesn't, then we make another decision after that.
Yeah.
Am I correct, sir?
Well, actually, they pulled back after we de-obligated the money to build a building.
That too,
If you
maybe
remember,
that's what it
part of
was.
their proposal was wanting us to build them an $8 million building.
Yes.
They don't want this old hospital. So when the money was de-obligated, where you don't have a building project no more, they pulled back.
Okay.
Just that simple. I mean, just that simple. There was no negotiating or taking over this old building.
Yes.
That was never in their plan. Their plan was for us not to build a hospital, but build them a new building. Well, when we de-obligated the funds because we didn't have a plan, that's when they pulled back.
All right.
And so they pulled back and lost their options, is what they did.
I'll just
go
let you
forward.
guys know that they did. There was a letter, and I'll include that in the board file. I hope that helps, it clarifies it for some. And Commissioner, finally, Mr. Chairman, that's the end of my report.
I have something,
All right,
Michael.
go ahead.
I got something I want you to get Michael to check out. The county vehicles or the ambulance and the buses are using Buck Street. They're not able to go down it. They saying they're gonna sue if, you know, and you need to check that out, so if they're gonna sue if they can't get the vehicles down in there. You know, the ambulance coming to get that kid, they wasn't able to get down there and get him the other night because the road's so messed up. To, you know, to pick the youngin' up. So, it's got me concerned that the ambulance couldn't down and get the youngin', so in the meantime, I just wanna make a motion to temporarily get that road up fixed till you find out something, you know, to get it, because they wasn't able to get down there and get the youngin', you know.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Master.
I'll second that.
Because the ambulance wasn't able to get down there and get the kid.
Second by Commissioner Burt. Any more discussion?
I just think this is the right thing to do at the present time. Temporary.
That's all it is, temporary, because
Yes,
next
sir.
time it rains,
That's
it's gonna
right.
wash it out.
That's right.
You're
And
not
it's-
fixing the problem.
Yeah, we've heard about Buck Street for a long time.
That's been for years.
Yeah,
It's actually Buck Road.
yeah.
It's Buck Road.
Buck
Buck
Road.
Street's on the island.
But Buck Road.
Buck Road.
Any more discussion? Y'all ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I guess they pay 'em.
Will somebody let
what-
that family know what we just did, just so they
Huh?
know? Somebody just let that family know, the Milliter family, that we just did
They
this?
listening.
Okay.
Well, this is a one-time deal.
Yes, sir, that's right.
That's a private road.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
supposed to be. And now, when they flood that door next meeting, all the other private, I'm voting to get them something done too. I ain't gonna just do
Yeah,
one.
I understand.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just do one, we gonna do all of them. Then we do one. Okay. Next on the agenda will be Mr. Michael Schuler.
Local rule says no attorney reports after 3:15.
All right. Next on the agenda will be the commissioner comment. Any commissioner comment? I got one. Down here, I got a problem with that library, what we had. She took interviews last week. and she told a young lady that she was the only one she interviewed, only one put in for the job. Now, all of a sudden, one person put in for a job. She had two jobs interview, two jobs open. One person put in for it. She done hired 2 people. 7 people come up with an interview. How you gonna, from last week, she ain't had time to interview no 6 more people. Plus, she had whoever she had for this one, what the other person took the interview. She didn't interview. I got a problem with that. And I'm gonna call the labor attorney and have him take it out. 'Cause this ain't right.
Explain this to me again?
Yeah. She put in the paper. She put in for paperwork that they had open. One person put in for the job. She interviewed the one person, but she had a different person. But she had 2 jobs open. Ain't no way you can hire somebody if ain't but one person put in for it. And the person was qualified, high school diploma with college course. So how they gonna go hire somebody who they didn't interview?
Oh, I got you.
Ain't no way. I want that checked into, Mr. Shooter. When our labor attorney own it. And it ain't right. Any more,
I think we about commented out today, Mr. Chairman.
all right, well. Meeting adjourned.
Cameras off? Huh?